Weekly top 5. Lots of action this week. Lockdowns are back. It's time to heal, and we made a Muppet. And it's and it's surprise number 5 at the end, as always. Fleccas Talks. Top 5, top 5, top 5. Top 5. Number 1. Lockdowns are back because, according to Gavin Newsom, we need to flatten the curve again. And if that makes no sense to you, don't worry. It makes no sense to me. But Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi's most trustworthy nephew, along with a lot of other people. We're seeing it in L.A., New York. Where else? Chicago. In Pennsylvania, they want you to wear a mask in the house. In New York, they're spying in your windows with binoculars. Lori Lightfoot is in charge of stuff. I didn't have anything for her. They want to ruin your life. Why do they want to ruin your life? They're just sick. And then you look at the people and you're like, why do they want to ruin my life so bad? And then you watch the video of Gavin Newsom laughing about his $10,000 dinner at French Laundry.
That a few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. My wife and I, a friend that I've known for almost 20 years. And
also, when Gavin Newsom talks, this is kind of unrelated, but he does it in this video. And when he talks, he does this hook finger, where he's kind of like trying to sell you and like hook you on what he's trying to do. And the hook, and it's just like not a trustworthy gesture. And it's just not a trustworthy gesture. I'm no body language expert, but there's something there for sure. And like even in this video, like he's literally laughing. And the way he's laughing, you can tell he's like, you caught me. It's kind of bullshit. And he's like, yeah, you know, and the spirit, when he says spirit, like the way his mouth moves, it's like, yeah, dude, we caught you.
Sitting down, I should have stood up and walked back, got in my car, and drove back to my house. Instead, I chose to sit there with my wife and a number of other couples that were outside the household. And you can quibble about the guidelines, et cetera, but the spirit of what I'm preaching all the time was contradicted.
And he's like, the spirit, okay, you caught me. And his mouth and face is doing like what a high school kid does when he gets caught, like, you know, sneaking beers out of the fridge or like putting water in the vodka and then the freezes. And your parents are like, why is the vodka frozen? It shouldn't be frozen. Who's putting water in the vodka? And then you're like, I don't know, maybe one of you guys. But yeah, they want to make everyone sad so people can ask for more. Is that it? They want to ruin everything and take everything away. Then they want you to ruin your business. They want you to be locked down and get sick. And then they give you money. Yeah, exactly. AOC wants to pay people to stay home. So they give you money. So then you need them. And then you forget what work was like and all that stuff. And then it's just like now you need the government. And then with all these people at home and all the economies in places like California where the budget is so underwater and upside down, now they can be like, we need this many $1 billion. Give it to us. Look how bad we're doing. It's like, yeah, it's because you put everyone in, locked them up. And then everyone gave their money to Amazon and Walmart. Like, what do you think happened? I mean, are you made out of felt and string and buttons? Are you a Muppet? You can't understand this? Someone controlling you and telling you what to say? I don't have COVID, but also I'm never going to wear a mask again. In the beginning, I kind of wore it when I had to. I traveled. I had to wear it. The store, I have to wear it. But now I just can't wear it anymore. Like, I literally can't. And I'm at the point where now I don't go to places that make me wear a mask. And the other day, Richard Rapway and I went out to Chipotle, and we walked in, and they were like, you have to wear a mask. Richard Rapway bent the knee. You went in anyway.
I wear the mask to get by.
Richard Rapway wears the mask to get by. I'm done doing that. So I just said, okay, and I sat in the car, and I just can't I literally cannot do it anymore. So I do have a new plan. There's a way to have the best of both worlds, and that's what we try to do here at Fleccas Talks. So Richard Rapway, after I guess a couple of weeks, he kind of realized I haven't left the house. He wanted to get Fleccas out. Let's go to the diner. Fleccas loves diner food. I was like, okay, let's do it. And we went, and I'm like, how do I go in without wearing a mask if they're going to make us wear a mask? So the new technique is have your friend go ahead of time, and then when you walk in the door after, you just beeline for their table. And by the time someone catches you and tells you to put a mask on, it's just like, oh, I'm already seated. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm really sorry about that. My bad. And it's over. You're in the restaurant. You sat down. It's done. So that's the new technique. So if you have a mask rule in your neighborhood or your city, Try that out. That's pretty good. That's what I've been doing. It works. Also, when I was at lunch, when we were at lunch, I saw this clip, and it's kind of scary.
What we're doing to make sure that that we are ready at this level after working these details for the last 6 months, as I've told the team, 2 things we must have. One, upon emergency use authorization, all of America must receive vaccine within 24 hours, as I said. I think this is incredibly important. Fair and equitable distribution of the vaccine throughout the country simultaneously. There is no haves and have-nots. It is an equitable distribution, and we are driving hard to make sure that that happens.
So if it were to be end times, the mark of the beast would be forced upon people, and then you have to choose to either accept it or reject it. And if you reject it, you won't be able to trade, you won't be able to do things, you won't be able to make money, you can't take public transportation, you probably can't go to college, you can't keep your job. I think once the vaccine comes, if you reject it, you won't be able to use PayPal, you probably won't be able to bank, you probably can't use Amazon and all these big tech companies, maybe even the apps like Instagram and Twitter. And then I'm not saying that that's necessarily the mark of the beast, but it sounds exactly like it. And then, no, I don't want to do that world. And then you reject it, and then everyone who gets it becomes some sort of zombie. And then the zombies are out, and then they're coming for you. And it's like every movie we've seen so far that basically told us this already. They need to, chill with the vaccine talk. 24 hours, the military is going to bring it, and everyone's going to get it. Chill with that. I think we are going to see prediction corner with Fleccas. I think we're going to see, the rise of maskers versus non-maskers, and basically anyone who's not wearing a mask will be considered a Trump supporter or the problem. So Trump people, right, Republicans, it'll all be non-maskers, and the scared masker people are going to get so mad, and it's going to be maskers versus non-maskers. And I really do see that coming, 100p. I remember in the beginning of the pandemic when you would go into Walmart, and if you didn't wear a mask, that whoever worked there, the high school kid, would wrestle you and had to stop you physically, and that's what they were doing. Now it's happening again, but if I don't get the vaccine, they're going to hold me down, a bunch of people, and wrestle me and inject me in the arm with a needle. Why is everyone trying to wrestle me? All I want to do is be left alone and not have to do anything. And you're going to just keep wrestling me down and putting things on my mouth and trying to shoot me in the arm with stuff? Chill with that. So, to conclude number 1, number 1 was so long, but to conclude number 1, lockdowns are back, wear a mask, protect Nana, but also, as we come into number 2, Nana. It's time to heal, guys. It's time to heal. H-E-E-L. We did see a lot of healing last week at the Million MAGA March, the Stop the Steal rally, when the people who thought they won the election attacked old people, women, and children all afternoon. And here's what CNN had to say about it.
This week, 82 years ago, Kristallnacht happened. It was the Nazis' warning shot across the bow of our human civilization that led to genocide against a whole identity. And in that tower of burning books, it led to an attack on fact, knowledge, history, and truth. After 4 years of a modern-day assault on those same values by Donald Trump, the Biden-Harris team pledges a return to norms.
That's what you guys were doing. And by saying that's what the Republicans are doing, and not talking about the looting and the broken glass themselves and the rioting and the destruction of businesses and the fires, by not really talking about that and then saying the Republicans are doing Kristallnacht, you're basically making it seem like that's the biggest problem. And then all the problems we're seeing stem from that. But you're just forgetting completely that you guys are the ones doing exactly this. So the person watching CNN is oh, this is maybe not the full truth, or maybe there's, half and half, but it's not a backwards opposite lie. And they're the truth's somewhere near here, but it's literally a backwards opposite lie. So it's you think you're getting some of the news, but you're facing the opposite, and you're all right, something along these lines is true, and it's not. So they say, fuck Nana, they attack old people. They literally attack elderly people, women, and children. And if you look closely in all the Antifa, they're all skinny little bitch boys. No offense. It's just what it is. They're just skinny little bitch boys. And it's they're in a group, they're masked, they're wearing the costume, they throw things, and they kind of get into this mode of like, I'm a warrior, I'm part of this team. And it's just like, now I understand now why they went after the PROUD boys so hard, because they knew in blue cities they can let Antifa do what they want and chaos in the streets and they can go destroy stuff, but they knew there would be a response to that, especially when police are told to stand down by blue mayors. So the Proud Boys got established, and they were the ones who were protecting statues, protecting businesses, escorting Ann Coulter to speeches. And when there was a fight in New York, they got prosecuted very, very hard, and it makes sense why, because they knew if they could disband and ruin the Proud Boys and soil the name, white supremacists, all the stuff, then they would have basically, what's the word for when you're like allowed in the mall after hours? Free reign. Yeah. So then you get free reign Antifa doing whatever they want. And that's literally what happened. Now it makes sense. I remember talking to Gavin about like that whole situation. I was like, why are they going after the Proud Boys so hard? I'm like, you guys are normal people. Like, why are they like painting this up? Like, why do they care? And it was because they knew this was coming, because this was all scripted and part of a plan. Maybe. Imagine being a small business owner and being and having a family and being told it's time to heal. It's time to heal. You already locked down your business for multiple months starting in like March. So your business has been shut down. You haven't been making money. You have bills to pay. You have mouths to feed. Imagine months of no revenue, no money coming in. People don't have $500. I think half of the country doesn't have $500. So months and months of that, business is completely flat and done. As it's starting to look okay and open back up, now we have to flatten the curve again. You sure this isn't just flu season with media coverage? You're completely locked down, and then on top of the lockdown, riots start. So there's a good chance your business, if you're in some of these cities, got destroyed, lit on fire, looted, everything got stolen. And then maybe you have insurance, hopefully, and it covers that. I'm sure that's a fun process. And you get your business back to normal, and you're like, okay, maybe we can open back up. Things are starting to look okay. And then you're told to lock down again because it's time to heal. Number 3, Sidney Powell's a G, but Muppets go Mupp.
I'm going to release the Kraken. It is indeed a very foul mess. It is farther and wider and deeper than we ever thought, but we are going to go after it, and I am going to expose every one of them.
So Sidney Powell is actually a G. I love her. She's fantastic. The Muppet fact checkers over at the New York Times kind of went after her, saying that what she's saying is not true and there's no evidence of voter fraud. And they actually included me in the article because I did release the video about Release the Kraken. And they included a mini statement from me. And I think they cut my statement short because I put the word Muppet in it. Like, my goal right now is for the New York Times to write the word Muppet about themselves, about like me calling them a Muppet. But they didn't want me to call them a Muppet, so they adjusted my quote. But my full statement to them was, Sidney Powell is a brilliant woman. It's unfortunate to see fake news Muppets trying to discredit her. When the Kraken is released, America will remember who sought the truth and who asked no questions when Joe Biden, who didn't leave his basement, got 10 million votes more than Obama did in 2008. It goes on from there, but yeah, I want New York Times to use their platform to let me call them a Muppet in front of everybody.
What publication are you with?
CNN.
This is stunning, heartbreaking, infuriating, and the most unpatriotic acts I can even imagine for people in this country to have participated in any way, shape, or form. And I want the American public to know right now that we will not be intimidated. American patriots are fed up with the corruption from the local level to the highest level of our government, and we are going to take this country back. We are not going to be intimidated. We are not going to back down. We are going to clean this mess up now. President Trump won by a landslide. We are going to prove it, and we are going to reclaim the United States of America for the people who vote for freedom.
So this is actually kind of cool and kind of exciting. We have our first in-studio guest. We actually have a New York Times fact checker coming to join us live on the show. Muppy Mups, Zeno. Muppy, are you there? Are you there, Muppy? Oh, man, Fleccas made a Muppet. Let's see what we got. Thanks for having me on. Oh, no problem, Mr. Mubzino. Some people are wondering if the evidence of voter fraud is actually right in our face. They can't really believe that Joe Biden, who didn't leave his basement and is clearly showing signs of dementia, was able to wrangle in almost 80 million votes, 10 million more votes than Obama did in 2008. Well, how do you explain that? This is something that only exists in right-wing Twitter. Voter fraud is exceedingly rare. This has been fact-checked by all of Jeffrey Epstein's friends. But Mr. Mubzino, in some districts in Michigan, there was voter turnout that was 150%, 200%, and even 300%. How can you have that kind of turnout in an election? Well, people are really excited about Joe. There's a lot of enthusiasm for Joe. A lot of people are with Joe. You saw him at the rallies. They had the circles around him. Very important people for Joe. Mr. Mubzino, what about the sworn affidavits out of Michigan where people under oath swore that they saw multiple individuals voting multiple times, they saw votes being counted multiple times, and refused to verify signatures? That's been debunked. That's been debunked. That's misinformation. It's misinformation. What you're saying is misinformation. It's dangerous to democracy. This is dangerous what you're doing. This should be illegal. Should be illegal. Republicans need to move on. This is unprecedented. This has never happened in the history of politics. People refusing to accept the election results. It's been a couple weeks. You gotta get over it. Joe Biden has been installed as president. We heard Chuck Schumer say it himself. Joe Biden has been installed.
Joe Biden will be installed as president.
Stop arguing. Stop complaining. Lock down. Protect Nana. But f*** Nana if she likes Trump. Well, fuck that bitch up. Mr. Mubzino, what about the two Republicans that actually withdrew their certification vote and decided that the vote in Michigan should not be certified because of all the irregularities they saw? F*** those guys. Where do those guys live? We should make a list of where those people live, find out who their family are, and f*** them up. We gotta f*** these people up, these fucking racist Trump supporters. This shit has been debunked. Joe Biden's been installed. How many times do I have to say it? Mr. Mubzino, you really think, like, completely being honest, just me and you really think all these people voted for Joe Biden? I'm out of time. This is my show. So this Muppet was actually made possible by a donation of Venmo from our friend Nate C. He sent me $100 and we used it for the show. We got the equipment needed to make a Muppet. Yeah. How about that tie? That was me. That was actually a ribbon. Dude, Muppets are fun. I actually really like doing this. This is like what George Soros probably feels like. Anderson, I'm Anderson Cooper. I'm part of the Vanderbilt family. All right, cool. That's enough Muppetry. Oh, man. That's enough Muppetry. That's enough Muppetry. But number 4 is actually another Muppet thing. Number 4, John Kerry is an actual Muppet. His jaw, his head, like the square head, looks like kind of like an Easter Island head. He's a Muppet. And that's not, there's no bit there. He's not really in the news lately. You know, a little irrelevant, number 4. But number 4, John Kerry is an actual Muppet. Bringing us to number 5. Number 5 is always the best one. You made it this far, you get rewarded. Everyone knows number 5 is the best one. Number 5 is a surprise. And this week, the surprise is going to be 2 number 5s. I ordered online this Halloween mask, Richard Rapoy and I did, and it's like a Halloween mask. I got it from Instagram, and Instagram's shopping algorithm is really good for me because they know what I like, and I respond to it. I zoom in on what I like. I skip quickly the things I don't like. So the algorithm and I are kind of like, you know, moving together nice. And they showed me this mask for this old man realistic rubber mask that looks so cool. It's like the mask from Mission Impossible. I was like, this is so cool. I was sold. I can make that be me for $40 and trick my friends. Done. So the mask is ordered. It's on its way. I rush delivered it and said I want it here in a week. We'll get to what happened. So I start setting up. I start planting the seeds for the bit. Grant, typical liberal. He's around the house all the time. Hey, Grant, next week my Uncle Ed's going to come down here. If you're around, he wants to cook and have some dinner with us. He loves you. Oh, sure, no problem. Oh, my Uncle Ed's coming. Oh, I'm Uncle Ed, Uncle Ed, Uncle Ed. All everyone knows is Uncle Ed, Uncle Ed, Uncle Ed. Everyone's talking about Uncle Ed. And the mask finally comes. It's a month late, to be honest. It was like a 6 weeks. I've been talking about Uncle Ed for 6 weeks. Like, isn't your uncle coming? And I'm always like, yeah, like next week, next week. So the package comes. Uncle Ed finally arrives. and Uncle Ed wasn't what I was sold. So the mask gets here, and honestly, I have the perfect outfits for Uncle Ed, like this old, large man. I got perfect clothes for that. The mask itself, though, had no mouth hole. I thought it was one of those things that like go tight, and it looks like it's like you can't even tell, and it's like right on your eyes and your mouth, whatever. There was no mouth hole. We had to cut a hole for the mouth. It's so hard to breathe. All right, and if you don't get in a good rhythm, you can you feel like your lungs are gonna dislocate. You see, if you can get carried away, and then you're stuck. So I couldn't breathe. So when I first put it on, I had to like, and I take breaths like that because it was so hard. So I cut the mouth thing, and I'm like, now the lips are all jacked up. What do? Mask. Uncle Ed's an at-risk guy. He's overweight. He's having trouble breathing. He probably has a sleep apnea thing. He's got to wear a mask. So Uncle Ed had to wear a mask. It actually helped. Put the mask on. I'm going outside, and Grant from Typical Liberal immediately recognized it. And he immediately knew, and I just started dying laughing. I couldn't deliver. I walked out. Everything was fine. I had like my whole thing ready. I had a little bit of like a limp. I had like a thing going. And as soon as people looked at me, I just died laughing.
It's just Fleccas. It's just Fleccas.
Hey! Wait, what? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, what?
We wanted to do this.
Oh, we got you, Grant. Oh, man. Still a good outfit.
Wait, so your uncle doesn't actually live here?
No. So I botched attempt number 1, but there was a solid attempt number 2. So attempt number 2, everyone from attempt number 1 was in on it and inside, and we had new friends come. So the new friends were going to get punked and meet Uncle Ed. Everyone in there knows Uncle Ed's fake, and they're going along with it like, oh, Ed's coming by, great. But I'm going to go right up to David, who doesn't know Uncle Ed, and go right up to him and go, oh, nice to meet you. Got my boots on. And go right up to David, for no reason, go, oh, nice to meet you. And put him on the spot. It's a good old-fashioned prank. It's a heist, actually. Maybe let's rob him. So give me your... All right. When you go back in there... I'm going to sit in your old seat. Fleccas is helping Ed park the boat. Okay. Then I'll have like a minute. Yeah. We also put a pillow in my shirt to look back.
All right, chill. We're making too much noise. Yeah. You look so f***ing funny.
All right, Fleccas is helping Uncle Ed with the boat. I think he got there, right? Yeah, the dogs are fine.
Hey, we're in here.
Hey, Uncle Ed.
What's up, Bob?
Oh,
How you doing? Oh, I never met you before. This is my first time. Hi, Uncle Ed. Great to see you. You and Fleccas, I can tell you're related.
So the mask wasn't what I expected, wasn't what I had hoped for, but that's life. What did we learn today? Don't trust everything you see on social media. The left does the opposite of what they say they're going to do, and everything they accuse you of. Muppets go Mupp. Number 3. Don't expect things from Muppets. They're socks with hands in them that are controlled by someone else. You're actually humiliating yourself by talking to them. All right, another Fleccas Talks in the books. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. ShopFleccas.com for the best merch in the game. Clinton shirt still out there, still fire. This thing's pretty cool. ShopFleccas.com. Get that sweatshirt. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the other places. Parler. I have Parler now. And also bonus number 5. You thought it was done. If you guys made it this far, you love bonus number 5, surprise number 5, you're going to love bonus number 5. Because that is going to be the DIY process of making the Muppet. This is how we made the Muppet. This is how we did it. We got a T-Rex body. We got a tan shirt. We got the eyeballs, hot glue, googly eyes, and then we got the hair from the Smurf. Cut the hair off. It's actually like cutting scalping the Smurf. Scalping the Smurf was actually kind of dark. another week of rejecting Muppetry. How do you feel, Richard Rapway? Good episode? Excellent episode. Thank you guys for watching all the way through. Fleccas Talks. This is a great make.
He needs to be saved. Get him on his home. What is his home?
A little bottle of something.
Trader Joe's pink lemonade.
Trader Joe's pink lemonade is what he lives on.